Hello! Hello and welcome, dear skill modelers, to my small hobby YouTube channel. My name is Tomo and yes, I'm back! So, this is a short review and a monthly update for the next month of October. As you might have seen, I have vanished from the YouTube media for at least a month, and that is because I was trying to catch the last rays of sun here in Slovenia before winter comes back. I haven't been really building anything at all. That car is basically the same as it was a month ago. However, I haven't been totally slacking off. I have been making decals for my helicopter project, and that took a lot of time, and I'm gonna show you a couple of things that I've done so far. So what I have been doing in September was I was reviewing the photographs that I took a couple of months ago of this helicopter, and I found the most clear pictures that I've took so that I could replicate the decals. And one of the decals that took a long time to do is this one. So this is the emblem that is on the side of the helicopter. Of course, I have enlarged it for the purposes of making it visible, and for the most part, it's fairly straightforward. You just make a shield, two colors. But then it gets complicated because then you have a horse, and you have a dragon, and you have a spear, and you have this shielded guy that on the horse, mounted, and it has lots of curves and lots of awkward angles, and this tail section is a bit crooked. So like before, I've tackled the most basic fundamentals of the shield, which is of course the background, which is, I'm just gonna show you here. So this is the shield on its entirety. I've already made this, and then I proceeded to draw various parts of the horse itself, the tail, the hooves, the body, the straps that make up the image. This is the saddle part, and this is the front leg, and this is the saddle in the back, as well as the little spear thingy on the front. And after I was done with that, I tackled the rider, which is of course the legs, the arm, the head, and the other arm, and the spear. Now, it's not 100% accurate because it doesn't need to be. At this scale, as you see it now on the screen, it is pretty much obvious, that any flaws, such as this little flaw on this little heel, is going to be seen. But once you condense it down to a very small level, it's really not shown at all. So the last one was the dragon itself that's slayed, and I'll show you that small size in this preview. This is basically what the decal size are gonna look like once printed on the decal paper. This is just a preview of how they're gonna look. And if I zoom in close, which I have to, wait, see, it's really small. Actually, it's gonna look like this once it's printed. So it's really not gonna be that much of a difference, but I had to do all these little details because if you put it into a printer, and it has a high quality resolution printer that makes these things are going to get shown, and I wanted to make sure that this is going to be as pristine as I can. The one thing that worries me the most is this little sign here, the Bell Jet Ranger 3 version, because on the printouts it's not really clear. The lines are very narrow, and I'm kind of afraid that once it gets printed, it's probably not even going to be seen. So I'll need to work whether or not I'm going to incorporate this into the final print, and I have to talk to the printer guy if they can print this small. Now, the smallest decal that I could see was this little 28 volts that is on the nose on the aircraft, and to be fair, this is how it's going to look. So yeah, this little blip here, it's just, I'm debating whether or not to put this on or not. Again, it all depends on the printer quality that they will be able to do. If they're going to be able to reproduce this, great. If not, no worries. So now we have like the danger flag, and the danger flag, the danger signs, which this error I just realized has to be the other way around, because it's like a mirror image, and of course the two markings on the tail. Now I'll just show you how I went on doing one of the decals, and on the video you will see me tracing out this text for Zeleny Yuri, the green Yuri. I think this is the figure, the green Yuri, on the aircraft. So enjoy. The last emblem that I have to reproduce is this one that you see in front of us. It is on the side of the doors, of the pilot doors, and on the co-pilot doors on this particular aircraft, and it's pretty intricate. I mean, geometrically speaking, it's not that difficult. It's basically just circle in a circle in a circle, and the letters are usually just standardized. This emblem on the top is not that difficult to reproduce, as well as the ribbon on the bottom. However, the interior with the eagle and the torch and the flame, that's a whole other question. To be fair, this is the size of the decal that is going to be on a final print. So going really nuts with the detail is really not that important. However, since I'm a bit of a stickler for detail, I'm probably going to have to reproduce most of it by hand. And that means going up really, really close, not that close, well, this close, and then just tracing out all the lines of the eagle, as well as, the inner lines of the feathers. Probably not all these stuff, because it's like really time consuming, but all the bigger lines as much as possible. Now, I've already started on this emblem, and this is what I have done so far. So I've done the background, which is basically just again a simple geometrical shape. I have done the ribbon, so background with the ribbon, and I've done the top portion of the emblem with the two swords. And I also wrote this, but it's not the right font, nor is it in the right position. I have to kind of figure out how to do this better, and it doesn't have quotas. So yeah, I still have some work to do. The circles on themselves are going to be probably very simple, but the eagle again is going to be a little bit more difficult. Now I have a friend in the armed forces which promised to help me out and try to find me this thing in vector-based image. If he can provide this, it's going to be such a time saver, because then I'm just going to be able to enlarge it or make it big or small, no matter what. But if not, I'm just going to do it myself and get off to the printers. So that took a long time, and I still haven't done everything completely, as you see. But I have printed all those symbols out on the A4 paper to see how they will actually scale up on the real model. And the model that I'm basing it on is this one, the Italiere's Jet Ranger 206. It's basically the same aircraft that is used in our armed forces, our Air Force. It's used for training purposes. Now, some people say, well, you can just use the Kiowa, Bell helicopter from Revell, but it's not the same. This one is exactly the same one. I'm not going to show you what's inside because the video is coming in the future. But these are the versions that you can make if you buy this kit from Untitled. The decals that I have made, I have printed out, and this is how they look. They're very small. And remember that emblem that I've taken so much time to do? This is it. So small. Now the size of the decals have been measured and compared to the decals that are already with the kit, so that I didn't have to invent hot water, because it does take some trial and error with these things. Once all the decals will be complete, I'll send them to the printers to be professionally printed, and then I will get the decal sheet and use them on the aircraft itself. So what else have I been doing? Remember this guy? I've shown you this guy time and time again. Well, this guy is flawed in so many ways that I really cannot say. The most obvious one is the tail section. These two wings are supposed to be downwards. So yeah, I've always also told you that I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of this aircraft, and I will today. The model in question is this one. It's the Super Seagull G4. It was manufactured by UMO, a Serbian-based company. It was a collaboration between a couple of business guys who decided to make a scale model, and this is the only model that they actually released ever. There were some different iterations of this model, such as this one, but for all intents and purposes, these are the same aircraft. The only difference is that this one has much shoddier decals than this one. This one has substantial, beautiful printed decals. This one is just crap. Now, the reason that I said that this is going to be a review is because I wanted to review this. It's a very quick review of this aircraft. It's the RAF Red Wings Hawk aircraft. It's a display piece that they have, and if you don't own this, this is the closest thing you're ever going to get. This is made by Airfix, but it's also made by Revell. It's basically the same aircraft. And this is a 20225C version, which is it just means that it has different decals. If you go on ScaleMates, you'll see that there's like a long list of this type of aircraft. There are certain differences between them, but for the most part it's the same aircraft. So let's just open this up and see what's inside. Okay, so the box itself just screams out, pick me, open me, buy me, get me. And this is a level 1 or skill 1 set for anyone, so basically beginners as well. And inside you will see 4 sprues that are housed in a big plastic bag, all of them, but I've taken the bag out for video purposes. Now the first sprue contains, as you can see, just the wing section, upper wing section, some air intakes. I think this is the bottom fuel tank and the landing gear, and some struts for eventual arsenal that could go with this aircraft. And I can give you a little close-up look of this amazing kit. No flashing. The detail is really sharp and clear, and I think that anybody is going to be very pleasantly surprised when they open this box up, especially if you're going to use a panel liner. All those details are going to just pop out. The second sprue contains the bottom portion of the wing section, as well as the pilot and some other covers and the engine exhaust, which again is small but very simple to put in insert, and it's just perfect. The only really bad thing on this sprue is the pilot. As you can see, there is some flashing going on here, but nothing major. So I think that it's going to be just fine as well. The third sprue contains the whole aircraft body, as well as the side wings or the back wings, and some pipes and some landing gear struts, I guess. And again, the panel lines are sharp and clear, maybe a little bit exaggerated, but it doesn't really bother me. The last sprue contains, of course, the cockpit itself and some fans and wheels and stuff, and the seats, which are again very crisp. And the cockpit is very simple, again, nothing really fancy about it, so you can just see from both sides. The thing that I didn't take out from the bag is the canopy. It's basically just a clear part, so it doesn't really need to be opened up. But I think it's a nice thing as well. In here you can see again the decals. The decals are very nice, very sharply printed, no offset. They're just gorgeous. One thing that I would like to mention though is that these things, like these are very big decals that go on the side of the aircraft and on the tail section as well. And sometimes if you're like a novice, you will have trouble putting them on because they're so big. And so you just have to be a little bit more careful, make a little more effort to be more precise with your work, and it's going to be done. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. The cockpit area is also very nicely defined with all the knobs and switches and dials. You can just see them. If you go very close, you can read almost like the dials on them. And yeah, very nicely printed. Of course, there's the manual. The manual comes in a A4 type paper thingy that has basic information on it, and then of course how not to do stuff, not to choke yourself, not to do stupid stuff with plastic and all the components. But anyway, the first page is basically the most work that you'll ever do on this aircraft, because it just takes everything and puts it in number 2, which is the cockpit assembly and the pilot. The rest is basically just putting it together and gluing it, and then you're basically done. As you can see here, not very much to do. And the wings and the wheels, again, very simple. You can put the gears up or down. I think this is the brake, the landing brake, I think. I'm sure somebody's gonna fix me on that issue if I'm gonna make something wrong. And again, yeah, you can put the landing gear up or down. Very cool stuff. On the back, basically just how you paint the aircraft itself with all the markings. And yeah, that's basically it. So I think that this particular kit is phenomenal to build, and I'm looking forward to doing it myself, but it's gonna have to be on hold. That is basically what I have been doing so far. It's not much, and I'm also considering changing the style of my presentations on YouTube, just to make my workflow a little bit easier. I've been using Filmora for my video editing software, and it's really not that efficient. It just takes a little longer to do, so I'm trying to find a way for me to have like a template stuff that I can just pop together a video real quick without any too much hassle. I bought the license for a year, so I have to use what I have. But I'll be doing those reviews very regularly now, again, every week, every Sunday, probably not Saturday like I used to, but Sunday, because I will have more time. And hopefully you'll see some builds in next month. But for now, I want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, waiting, and all new subscribers. Yay, thank you very much. It means a lot. And I'll see you again soon, very soon. Bye bye.